How is energy formed in different metabolic cycles? Basically, there are two different forms of reactions over here. The first one being substrate level phosphorylation. Substrate level phosphorylation. And the second one is biological oxidation. Biological oxidation. Remember one thing: whenever we have any food, it needs to be converted into energy. So basically, these are the two different forms of reactions in which energy is being produced. Let's talk about substrate level phosphorylation first. As the name itself indicates, here energy is formed when there is formation of a new substrate by the use of the current substrate. Like, you can have a clear idea when you look at this particular example over here. Okay. Like, say this is the reaction in which phosphoenol pyruvate is converted into pyruvate. This is the basic step which everyone knows happens in glycolysis. What is happening over here? Here we have phosphoenol pyruvate here. Phosphoenol pyruvate over, this is one substrate, and pyruvate is the second substrate. Okay, basically what is happening here, this phosphoenol pyruvate is getting converted into pyruvate. Okay, in this particular reaction, what is happening over here is and particular amount of energy is produced during this conversion from phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate, and that particular energy is being tapped on by this ADP. It will be this ADP over here which is present will grab that particular energy, and this ADP, which is adenosine diphosphate, is converted into ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. So basically, in substrate level phosphorylation, there is a formation of there is transfer of release of energy when one substrate is converted into another substrate, and this particular release of energy is being tapped by ADP to form ATP. Okay, so this particular energy, this ATP, usually ATP is produced where? In mitochondria. Okay, the specialty of substrate level phosphorylation is this particular substrate need not enter mitochondria in order to produce ATP. This particular substrate need not enter into mitochondria to produce ATP. So what is the significance of this substrate level phosphorylation? There are many. We have RBC over here. RBC in the human body is enucleated, doesn't have any nucleus. So how does this RBC produce energy over here? So there is a wonderful mechanism in which energy is being produced when one substrate is converted into another substrate, and this particular energy will be tapped by ADP present in the RBC and is converted into ATP, which will be utilized by the red blood cell. And this particular mechanism over here, which we see, is substrate level phosphorylation. Usually majority of the substrate level phosphorylations occur in the cytoplasm. Okay, all the substrate level phosphorylation occurs in the cytoplasm. There are several substrate level phosphorylation which can be seen in all the metabolic cycles. Majority of the metabolic cycle we'll go through each and every one of them at a later point of time. Okay, this is all about substrate level phosphorylation. What is biological oxidation? What is biological oxidation? Biological oxidation is a particular thing. What happens is like biological oxidation is something which happens in mitochondria. Biological oxidation is something that happens in mitochondria. What happens in mitochondria? The second part of this discussion, which includes biological oxidation. The biological oxidation usually happens in where? In mitochondria. What is biological oxidation? Biological oxidation is something which uses high energy compounds. Okay, high energy compounds like NADH and FADH. Okay, how are these high energy compounds produced? These high energy compounds are produced as a result of various byproducts in the metabolism. During the interconversion of one product to another product, what happens is like these biological products will be formed. These high energy compounds will be formed. What happens is like these high energy compounds will be entering the mitochondria. These high energy compounds will need to enter the mitochondria, and energy passes from different complexes, in the sense complex 1, complex 3, cytochrome, and complex 4. Usually these complexes are a combination of different cytochromes. What happens is like these high energy compounds usually pass through energy from these high energy compounds. Once they enter into the mitochondria, what happens is like the energy passes from one complex to another complex and cytochrome and different complexes, and eventually ATP is produced at different parts of this particular flow cycle. At different stages energy will be produced, and this is what we call it as biological oxidation. Remember, as a recap of one thing, energy is formed from metabolisms as two different processes. One is the substrate level phosphorylation, and second one is biological oxidation. In substrate level phosphorylation, what is happening is like energy is being transferred from one substrate to another substrate, and this difference in energy will be tapped by the ADP to form ADP. Remember, it happens in the cytoplasm. It does not require any mitochondria. Whereas biological oxidation is something where high energy compounds which are formed in various metabolisms are being transferred to the mitochondria, and within the mitochondria these high energy compounds energy will be moved from one complex to another complex, and energy is produced in different stages. Okay, for this particular biological oxidation, mitochondria is mandatory. Which are the following will be producing more energy? Obviously, biological oxidation is more efficient, and it is built in such a way to produce maximum energy.